Hey, it's Teri Hart with the news that the Tragically Hip frontman Gord Downie has died at the age of 53 from brain cancer. We're taking a look back at the legacy he leaves behind. He always was ahead by a century. That signature voice, those signature moves. Gord Downie, the dynamic frontman of Canada's band, the Tragically Hip, leaves a gaping hole but a lasting legacy. Along with his hip bandmates, Downie is woven into the fabric of Canada, not just through music, but also the cultural identity of the country. He, with Johnny Faye, Gord Sinclair, Rob Baker, and Paul Langlois, formed the Tragically Hip in 1984 in picturesque Kingston. And for 32 years, they crisscrossed the country, connecting Canadians in a love for the rock band that the rest of the world never really caught on to, but they never knew what the rest of us did. From the release of their first album in 1987 to the 13 that followed, they brought us songs like New Orleans is Sinking, Boots or Hearts, and 38 Years Old. Songs that all these years later inspire tens of thousands to sing along.
That summer, he was on a fishing trip.
And sing along they did, as the Hip took to arenas across the country on their Man Machine Poem Tour, a tour the Hip embarked on after revealing Downie's devastating diagnosis, glioblastoma, an aggressive form of brain cancer that affects 4 to 6 in every 100,000 Canadians. But despite having to undergo 2 brain surgeries, rounds of radiation and chemotherapy, and a constant struggle with his memory, Downie didn't let an incurable brain tumor stop him from what he loved and what we love him for. Stirring performances, extended standing ovations, fans united by their love and emotion, and finally, a glorious finale, the hometown show in Kingston, broadcast live across Canada. And Downie didn't stop at a national tour, using the last months of his life to make his mark on Canada beyond music with the Gord Downie and Chani Wenjack Fund to bring attention to the history of residential schools and to support reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples. He also released his 5th solo album called Secret Path, accompanied by a graphic novel and animated TV special. The whole project was inspired by the story of Wenjack, a young First Nations boy who died in 1966 after escaping from a residential school.
On a secret path, the one that nobody knows.
Downie even took a moment at what would be his final performance with the Tragically Hip in his hometown of Kingston to call out Prime Minister Trudeau to figure out what the hell went on up there.
What's going on up there ain't good. We're going to get it fixed. But we got the guy to do it, to start, to help.
Downie's work for raising awareness of Indigenous issues earned him the Order of Canada in June 2017. This September saw the release of Long Time Running, a documentary about the final Hip tour, and it was revealed just how challenging the concerts were for the band and Gord. But it was something he desperately wanted to do.
I mean, it was just a dream. I wanted the shows to go on forever.
Every night on the tour was this incredible crucible of love and celebration, and then some deep reckoning for all of those fans with their identity, often as Canadians, and with their emotions. And I think it's really rare in this day and age that people get the opportunity to really look at something that they love so deeply and get to value it because they know that it's maybe not going to last forever.
And yet Downie had more to give. At the end of September, he once again awed fans with the announcement of another new solo album, Introduce Yourself, due out October 27th. The double album features 23 new songs that were recorded during 2 separate sessions, one in January of 2016 and the other just this past February. Many of the songs on the album are first takes.
Hello, boys. Way up in the north.
Gord Downie spent over 30 years as the frontman of the Tragically Hip, writing songs that spoke to us as a nation. But since May of 2016, when his brain tumor diagnosis was revealed, Downie has proven he's armed with will and determination and grace too. As Downie wrote along with his bandmates, it was in Bob Cajun where I saw the constellations reveal themselves, one star at a time. The revelation of the Tragically Hip and their dynamic frontman Gord Downie link Canadians in the way constellations do, forever shining on. Downie leaves behind 4 children. Our thoughts are with his family, his bandmates, and all of his loved ones. For City News, I'm Teri Hart.